Welcome to A2sportsmedia weekly game predictions. Got some NFL and college football action this week. So we're kicking it off with number 3 Ohio State versus number 9 Indiana.
Highest ranked they've been since what, 1987?
Right? Something like that.
Right? Highest guy he's been since 1987.
Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. and really good offense. They showcased that a couple weeks ago versus Michigan. Really exposed that.
That
really.
I don't know if that's a great offense or just an absolutely horrible secondary.
Well, but they've done that to everyone.
Yeah, we'll call it a bit of both.
Except Penn State. I mean.
Yeah, that was
and Penix has been very turnover prone all year. That's
because with the like 2 games, right?
Well, yeah.
And then Ohio State, of course, as usual, they're like probably debatably top, like best team.
Arguably the most complete team in college football.
Yeah.
You could argue that.
As good as people thought they would. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I think that, but.
I don't know.
What were you gonna say? Or what were you saying?
Me?
Yeah, what did you say?
I said I don't think they've looked as good as people thought they would.
Well, doesn't Justin Fields have more touchdowns than incompletions, though, James?
Yep.
I'm not saying he's not good, but like.
No, I think that people were expecting Trey Sermon to have a bigger impact than he's had so far.
Game is not. What's his name? What's the big running back?
Master Teague.
Yeah, Master Teague. Master
Teague.
Their running game just hasn't been there. Like they obviously.
Yeah, no. I mean, you lose J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. They need to establish that run game if they're gonna go past the.
Yeah, if they're gonna beat Michigan, I'm thinking they're really gonna need to.
Yeah, something tells me they will.
What I gotta say is Indiana. The only 2 teams that the ranked teams they've beaten are not ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have looked especially good against them.
No, I think that Indiana's
State is not a good team, and they only beat them in overtime.
Yeah.
So,
Indiana. I think Indiana is just horribly overrated as right now.
Yeah, I mean, and they're the second best team in the Big Ten. So,
in the East.
Second or third, probably. Well, yeah,
they're
probably the best.
Second best in the East, I would say. At least they've looked that way.
Yeah.
And then on the West, you have Northwestern and Wisconsin.
But overall, I think we all know Ohio State is going to destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm predicting Ohio State 42, Indiana 20.
The spread is 21. The question is, will you cover the spread?
I would 100% take Ohio State on that line. Ohio State minus 21. Because I think that this is going to be the game where Ohio State really flexes their defense.
Yeah.
Penix has been good, but he hasn't been beat Ohio State good. And I think that it's going to be a classic 56-10 type of game for Ohio State. Really flex how they're the top of the Big Ten.
Go 40.
I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be kind of like last year's Ohio State-Penn State game, where it was kind of close for a little bit, but then Ohio State's just going to pull away at the end. So I think it's going to be 42-28, Ohio State.
All right.
I got
Go for it, James.
I said 49-10. I mean, it might seem close to the first quarter, but just way more talent on that team.
Yeah, I agree with James, but I think it's going to be 49-17. I think anything other than if Ohio State doesn't cover the spread, then it's basically a loss. Then they just it won't count as much, but it'll be a disappointment if Ohio State doesn't cover the spread, and I think they'll do that pretty easily. So yeah, I say 49-17.
All right.
Next game up.
Top 2 teams in the West.
Yeah, Northwestern has been looking really, really solid the past couple weeks with Peyton Ramsey at QB.
I think especially that Maryland win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's looking better and better. Every week that Maryland.
Wait, was that when Talia, I don't know how to say his name, was really bad? Was that when he played really bad though?
Yeah, he threw 4 picks.
I feel like I don't know. Like, that just seems like a little bit of a fluke. Like, honestly, I could see Maryland beating them if they played them again. Like, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how you can call it a fluke though when there's like a 60-point
But,
win.
like, did you see how bad he played? Did you see how bad he played? I mean, he played awful. And then after that, he's played really well. So I just feel like it wasn't really an accurate.
The Northwestern defense has, like, I think the highest amount of interceptions in the Big Ten. So, like, that's what they do. They have really
from that game.
And they had a big win last week too against Purdue.
Mhm.
Was pretty good.
Purdue, without Rondo Moore, I don't know about Purdue, but okay. Let's get back onto this game. Wisconsin coming off a big win over Michigan in the Big House, kind of came in and just dominated them from start to finish. I think Wisconsin is going to win. And I think that it's not going to be close, to be honest. Like, Peyton Ramsey's looked good. Northwestern's defense has looked good. But I just don't think that they have the line talent to compete with this great Wisconsin offensive line. Which is why I'm taking them, like, probably 35-14.
I think Northwestern's defense is keeping the game. They're playing at Northwestern. That probably doesn't matter because there's not going to be fans. But I still think it's going to be close. I'll go Wisconsin 28, Northwestern 24.
I like where Will's head's at. I think Northwestern's defense is going to keep them in the game. They're pretty good secondary. Ultimately, I think Wisconsin will win this game. But I think it'll actually be, 24-21. I'm going to pick Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those classic kind of low-scoring Big Ten West games. So the teams are pretty fair, but I think that Wisconsin's going to pull ahead 24-14 at the end.
I'll go 28-21. I think it'll be close, but it'll look closer than it really is. That's what I think it is.
All right. Got Michigan Rutgers.
Oh,
Surprising.
boy.
Keep the James sweatshirt.
Yep.
To see James.
At the beginning of the season, if someone told you that there might be a tiny bit of debate over this game, you'd call them crazy. But now, you still call them crazy, but maybe not as much.
Well, I mean, they've looked really solid in the trenches, bringing in transfers. Transfers and really developing, but much better under Shiano than any time before. They dominated Michigan State in the trenches, which is, I think, a scary sight for Michigan after getting dominated in the trenches by Michigan State. So I don't know how to feel about this game. I think that it depends on how the quarterback play from Michigan is. There's a little debate over who's going to be the starter, Cade McNamara or Joe Milton. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I feel like in terms of, like, team chemistry and, like, attitude, 1-3 is good for Rutgers. So I feel like, they're not going to be discouraged. They're probably ready to go out there and play. And, Michigan just looks disjointed, very discouraged. So I think that could be part of it that keeps this game pretty close. But at the end of the day, Michigan, we're just so much more talented. There's just no way we lose this game.
Yeah, going back to the QB competition, I think that I think Joe Milton's going to start again. But, if he gets off to a bad start, I think they're going to easily switch it to McNamara. So yeah.
I agree. I think Joe's on a short string. He really has no room for mistakes, so I think Cade will end up playing the majority of the second half.
McNamara beat out McCaffrey, apparently, in preseason practice. So he's not bad.
He was a pretty highly touted guy coming out of high school. He owns pretty much every Nevada State passing record. So he's not a slouch by any means. And I think it's good for Michigan to have that backup, right? I guess arguably first stringer now, quarterback that can also play.
Is Mayfield and Hayes maybe back?
That I don't know. That's the big question.
No.
Yeah, I would doubt that Mayfield especially is going to come back. I don't think
Hutchinson's out also, right?
Hutchinson is out. Kwity Paye, I don't know what the status of him is.
Yeah.
Does anybody know?
I feel like losing all these offensive linemen could be a big problem for Michigan in this game because, usually we're just able to run all over Rutgers because it's Rutgers. But against Wisconsin, our line really just wasn't creating space for our backs. So
Yeah, we do not have depth on
if
defense.
Michigan's not able to do the same, if Michigan's not able to create space against Rutgers, it could get messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I think
Any thoughts?
that at the end, I can't choose Rutgers beating Michigan just because it's such a wild thing to hear. But I think Michigan's going to come out in a close one, 28-21.
Yeah, I agree with Josiah. I have to take Michigan here over Rutgers. But I think it'll be way too close for comfort. I think they'll end up being 21-17, Michigan over Rutgers, and I think Cade McNamara is going to be the key to the win.
So yeah, what I'm thinking. Oh, go ahead. All right, I'll go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that this is way too close for anybody. I think it's going to be 28-27. I think that Rutgers is going to score with the chance to win it on a 2-point conversion, but in classic Rutgers fashion, fumble the bag and give Michigan the 28-27 win.
I think it's going to look really bad in the first half. I think Rutgers might be up, but I feel like Cade McNamara is going to come in, and Michigan's going to look pretty good or not pretty good, but decent, and we're going to end up winning 35-21.
I'm going to go with Rutgers to win this game. I wouldn't even call it an upset at this point. I'm going to go 28-21 because I just think that this Michigan team has way more talent, obviously, but they clearly don't even it doesn't even look like they want to play anymore, to be honest. And I think that'll lose them this game.
Yeah, Rutgers does have that advantage. They want to beat Michigan.
Yeah, because this is the year that they're going to be able to do it. So.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have the rivalry game in the ACC. Another probably combined 200 points. In the
Big 12.
Big 12.
Yeah, Big 12 classic offensive shootout.
Although I've heard that Oklahoma State's defense is the best in the Big 12. So
They are. Yeah.
And that's
Oklahoma State and then Iowa State.
Yeah, Oklahoma has won 4 straight after that pretty bad start, and they have beat Texas, and Oklahoma State lost to Texas. So I don't
know. The Big 12 is just a big suck fest this year.
Yeah,
they're just beating up on each other, and
I think both teams are kind of fighting for their dignity here. I think the winner shows they might have a decent year. The losers, there's no hope left, really.
Well, I believe this is for the second spot in the Big 12 championship game as of now, for second in the conference, because I think Iowa State is at the top.
Yeah, Iowa State is at the top.
And then Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are right there, second and third. Mm-hmm. So this is a pretty important game for postseason ramifications. I'm thinking that. Oh yeah, Texas is also in there. But I'm thinking that Oklahoma State's run game, as well as their much improved passing game, will end up getting them the dub. They actually do have a pretty good defense, and I just don't have much faith in Spencer Rattler to get it done down the stretch.
Yeah, he really hasn't looked that good, especially in crunch time. But also, they got back that number 1 wide receiver recruit from a couple years ago. I forget his name, but they just got him back, I think.
Haywood or something?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Oh, Hazelwood, yeah. Jaden Hazelwood.
Hazelwood, yeah, something like that. And I think he comes back for this game. I'm not 100% sure about that. And if he does, I think that's big because they've kind of lacked weapons. I mean, they lost CD from last year, and they don't really have that same Oklahoma offense that they usually have, whereas Oklahoma State has those weapons on offense.
Yeah, and I think those weapons are what win Oklahoma State this game.
Yeah.
That and the fact that they have a decent defense compared to the rest of the Big 12. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State 49-42, classic high scoring game, but not as high as we've seen in recent years, but it'll be a game. It'll be a game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Oklahoma State will win, but it'll be pretty close. I'll go 38-35 on a game-winning field goal.
It's a pretty low-scoring
Yeah,
game.
I think even though Oklahoma doesn't have the weapons they've had in the past, they're still Oklahoma, and they're always going to have depth, especially at skill positions. So I think Oklahoma is going to win 45-38.
Hmm.
All right, next game, NFL.
Lions, Panthers. Lions are, what are we, 4-5?
Yep.
We're definitely not out of the playoffs just yet. A win here would actually really help our chances. I was looking at like the simulator, the New York Times simulator thing. So, and we have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. We don't play a team with a winning record till like week 12 or something, or like week.
Is it the Packers?
Yeah. So, I think Lions are going to be ready to play this game. I think we're going to come out with a win here.
Yeah.
And Christian McCaffrey is officially out.
Yep.
For this game too. So.
Well, do you know Mike
McCaffrey's out.
actually equals his production? So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Carolina is 3-7. They don't look especially that good. I think that the Lions are going to come off that kind of shaky win last week, and they're going to maybe get a bigger lead at the beginning, which will come down at the end. But I think they're going to win 30-21.
Yeah, and Kenny Galladay is back, and the Lions' offense is twice as good when Kenny Galladay is playing, so that should help them a lot.
Yeah.
Swift has looked good, and he's only getting better, so adds another dimension to Detroit's offense. An explosive back.
Yeah, he had somewhat of a breakout game last week, and I think that he carries that momentum into a win over the Panthers, 28-24.
I think the Lions are shaping up where they should win this game. I think that they definitely have the talent, but in all honesty, I think the Panthers will come out, and I think the Panthers will take the win in classic, and the Lions will lose it in classic Lions fashion. I think the Panthers will win 28-21 on some fourth quarter crazy 40-yard touchdown pass to win the game, some crazy thing like that. And the Lions will lose it in the most Lions way possible.
Well, Carolina.
I think it's going to be a ridiculously close game because every Lions game is, whether we win it on the last second or lose it at the last second. But I think the Lions will win this one at the last second. Give the win to the Lions 28-24. I think this might have been what I said.
I think this Carolina team is actually their record doesn't show it, but
they have a bright future too.
They do. Like Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to be good for sure. DJ Moore, they've had a lot of injuries this year. Like CMC, that's a huge hit. Regardless of his backup, I mean that's just a huge hit. So they're going to be good. And Matt Rule is a really good coach, so they're going to be good. And I feel like their talent is going to win in this game because they have a lot of
it. Especially because they competed with Kansas City a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and they played the Bucks last week. They've had a pretty hard schedule so far, so I don't really think that's accurate of them as a team.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson.
A lot of close losses.
Yeah, the Falcons one, that was bad too. They should have won that game.
All right, next game, Owen's team.
Now, hear me out here. The Colts have beaten every NFC North team, and we're now playing the Packers. Here's the deal. Kamoko Toure comes back this week, a defensive end for the Colts who is huge before he was out. He played out of his mind. On top of an already stacked defensive line, arguably the best interior duo in the league. Arguably. DeForest Buckner playing out of his mind right now. And I think the shakiest part of this game will be Devontae Adams against our young – they're talented, but they're young corners. I think Xavier – the matchup to watch, I think, will be Devontae Adams on Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes is one of the lowest completion percentages in the league. I mean, has allowed for one of the – this game will be a great game.
Guarding him his whole career too, probably.
Yeah, because he played for Minnesota. So
matchup to watch.
I think And ultimate, let's be honest, Phillip Rivers, arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
I think you guys would be a Super Bowl contender if he wasn't your quarterback.
I think if we still had Andrew Luck, we would be a Super Bowl contender.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
I don't know why you guys don't play. What's his name?
Brissett. Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, thank you. I don't know. The guy's 6'4", 250. Like, I don't know why we don't play him more.
Yeah, because big, tall, 6'5", 245 quarterbacks always work out, don't they?
Okay, other than Joe Milton. I'm just saying Jacoby Brissett, at least he can throw the ball. All I have to say is Phillip Rivers looks like a T-Rex trying to throw the ball. He short arms it every pass. Either way, I think
want to say –
sorry, go. All you, Parker.
Okay. Now, I was going to say that the Colts are getting back that D end, but the Packers are getting Alan Lazard back, which I think is huge for them. Like you said, going against a young secondary to get, their second best wide receiver back is, I think, really big, which is something to keep in mind for Packers offense.
Does Lazard play in the slot or wide?
Yeah, I think
That's wide.
I think the key to this
he's
game,
like 6'6".
I think the Colts really have to get to Aaron Rodgers, get after the quarterback, and from what I've heard, they have a pretty good line. So if they're able to do that, I think they have a chance to win the game. But otherwise, Aaron Rodgers is eventually going to find Devontae Adams if he has enough time. And if they get Aaron Jones going too, it'll be bad for the Colts. So I think if the Colts can control the line of scrimmage on defense, I think they have a chance. But the Colts offense is pretty. They're not bad, but they're not all that. And the Packers defense is pretty good. So I think Packers definitely have the upper hand here, and I think they'll probably win the game.
Yeah, I think because the Colts are coming off that pretty big win off of the Tennessee Titans, where
they just kind of
might be a little bit overrated, but
Definitely overrated.
and also the Packers, their 2 losses are pretty shaky. So I think that the Colts they have a chance here. So I'm gonna pick them to win in a close one, 17-14.
I like that prediction. I hate to pick against my own team. I really do. And I think the Colts defense is what's going to keep this close due to the stacked, arguably best linebacker in the league, and Darius Leonard and a great rookie safety and
You're forgetting. I'm just going to remind you. Remind you about Zach Cunningham real quick. You don't want to forget about him. Best linebacker.
Just going to remind you of Devin Bush.
Vandy product.
Right. That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. But Darius Leonard, nuts. Either way, I hate to pick against my own team. I think the defense will keep it close, but our offense is god-awful, and it's hard to win a game when you don't have a wide receiver one, and we can't pick a running back to be our main running back. So I'm going to have to take the Packers here 14-24, just because the Packers actually have an offense and one of the greatest teams of all time. So.
Oh, boy. Tomorrow night.
A game to watch.
This is a good game.
This is going to be a great matchup.
As it was.
Rematch.
This is probably
As it was
last year. Last time they played. That was.
This is NFC West. This is really important.
Yeah, for the Seahawks especially.
Yeah.
2 MVP contenders at quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And the Cardinals coming off that crazy last-second win.
Yep.
And the Seahawks coming off that loss.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've won 3 straight. Lost 3 straight. They've lost 3 straight.
They haven't lost 3 straight, but they've
lost 2 straight at least, right?
No, I don't think they have.
But... they have because they lost to the Bills last week.
Oh yeah, that's right. 2 straight, and then they lost the Cardinals last time. So
yeah,
they've really looked bad last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch, though. Both teams have great passing games, great quarterbacks, great receivers. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to go back and forth. I think the Cardinals have a little more firepower, though, and I think they'll end up winning the game.
I think Russell Wilson has been pretty overrated this year. He's played.
He started the year really good.
He was hot.
He's played really well against some bad teams, but when he's played the good teams, I think he has more turnovers than like touchdowns in the past.
Well, they've had a lot of injuries at running back, and they've relied on their running game in the past.
Well, their defense. I mean, their defenses was really bad. That because Wilson has to do a lot more than he usually does.
Their secondary has been pretty horrible this year.
Yeah, it's been awful. So I think like Russell Wilson's having to do too much, and it's kind of getting to him. And like in a big game like this, you can't win if you don't have a defense, especially against a team like this.
Yeah, I agree with that, James.
Does Arizona really have a defense?
Yeah, they got. Well, I mean,
they got good corners.
Yeah, they have good corners.
Yeah, Lockett had that really, really big game last time these two teams played. So I think they also got to get Metcalf. Well, he's on my fantasy team, but they got to get him going.
Jalen Ramsey kind of locked him up last week. So
yeah, but 4 targets isn't enough. I think he's like, you got to use him, especially in the red zone. You got to look at him. I think that the Seahawks are going to win at the end, 35-31.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. K1's on my fantasy team, so I gotta love him. He's been playing lights out this year. Probably, honestly, maybe the best quarterback so far in the NFL. I don't know if that's too much of a stretch, but I wouldn't.
Definitely best in fantasy.
I mean, you look at it.
I think he's gonna be QB1 next year.
I'm gonna go Cardinals 45, Seahawks 43.
I think that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be too much for the Seahawks secondary. He's also on my fantasy team, but I think he should get like. He's hot. He's
catches.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm. He's hot. He has his ego, and that's scary when you have a hyped up DeAndre Hopkins. I think that carries the Cardinals over the edge, 35-31.
I like where Parker's head's at. Yeah, I think Kyler Murray's going to strengthen his MVP season here with a big win against the Seahawks. I think Russell will be able to keep it close, but their defense is just not equipped to handle Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm going to have to take the Cardinals over the Seahawks here, 42-35.
Yeah, I agree. This game's going to be close. This kind of game always is. Like I said, I think the Cardinals have the advantage. So going Cardinals 35-31.